Welcome to the HPG Blackout. My call sign is Longshadow, and I do not care what House Lord you owe allegiance to because I am just an amateur historian who loves big stompy robots. Today we explore the Succession Wars era. But since Comstar has us in a blackout, we need your help to get our signal out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content, just like this. For 300 years after the fall of the Star League, the five great houses were almost constantly fighting each other over the position of First Lord. The destruction was unimaginable, with countless casualties, hundreds of worlds rendered lifeless, and technological progress pushed back by centuries as much of humanity's knowledge was lost. In 2780, the High Council reconvened in the ruins of Unity City to determine who would become the next First Lord. However, after months of intense negotiations, it became clear that there could be no agreement, and the council was dissolved in 2781. General Alexander Kerensky, the hero of the Umera Civil War, attempted to reconcile the great houses but was ultimately unsuccessful. When the House Lords began massively building up their militaries and even recruiting prisoners, General Kerensky realized that the only way to save the spirit of the Star League was to disappear from the inner sphere. In 2784, he launched Operation Exodus and vanished with the bulk of the Star League defense force. In the aftermath of Kerensky's departure, the great houses began seizing worlds of the Terran hegemony for themselves, plunging the inner sphere into chaos once again. The Succession Wars was a tragic period in the history of the inner sphere, but they also set the stage for the events that would follow. In the aftermath of the Star League's fall, the five House Lords covertly vied for control, initiating conflicts disguised as piracy and triggering an arms race. As tensions escalated, the Succession Wars began, with each house seeking control of Terra and the crumbling hegemony. This period saw dramatic battles, strategic maneuvers, and political machinations. The Lyran Commonwealth, led by Lieutenant General Baron Richard Johansson von Eilenberg, launched an initial preemptive strike called Elbow Joint against Bolin, setting a brutal precedent for the Succession War. Despite some victories, they also suffered losses, prompting a shift in defense protocols. Meanwhile, the Draconis Combine, under Coordinator Minoru Kurita, initiated a major offensive against the Federated Suns, catching them off guard. Despite heavy losses, the Suns fortified their defenses, barely holding against the Combine's relentless assaults. In the Capellan Confederation, Chancellor Barbara Leal launched campaigns against the Federated Suns and proposed alliances, which eventually failed. However, her forces managed to seize some key territories before her death. In the Free Worlds League, Captain General Kenyon Merrick engaged both the Lyran Commonwealth and the Capellan Confederation in a complex and brutal campaign, with atrocities on both sides. During this turmoil, Jerome Blake seized control of the entire Terran solar system, establishing Comstar, a secretive organization with significant influence over the future of the inner sphere. Despite initial setbacks, the Federated Suns, led by a young Prince Paul Davian, launched successful counter-offensives against the Draconis Combine and the Capellan Confederation, reclaiming lost worlds and sparking hope for their people. By the end of the First Succession War in the 2820s, widespread fighting had significantly decreased due to the exhaustion of resources, severe damage to the war fleets and civilian shipping, and the use of devastating weapons. The war's aftermath was a devastated inner sphere, with billions dead and a vast depletion of advanced technology and equipment. Peace treaties established formal borders and an uneasy peace, marking the end of the First Succession War. The Second Succession War, beginning in 2830, marked a tumultuous period in the inner sphere, with the five great houses engaging in intense conflicts. After the uneasy peace following the First Succession War, borders ignited with hostilities between the Lyran Commonwealth, Draconis Combine, Federated Suns, Capellan Confederation, and the Free Worlds League. Espionage and raiding activities intensified, with controversial tactics like using prisoners as raiders. Key events included Operation Celt against the Federated Suns, General Raymond Hempstead's retaliation against the Draconis Combine, and Charles Merrick's gathering strength for a decisive strike, triggered by intelligence from Comstar. By 2830, all great houses were engulfed in the war, with House Merrick focusing on Dieudonné and New Hope, and Kurita launching offensives against House Davion and House Merrick. Throughout the war, the Inner Sphere witnessed shifting alliances, betrayals, and changing strategies, like the Draconis Combine's planet-hopping attacks and the Capellan Confederation's devastating nuclear counterattack. Political turmoil, resource shortages, and critical victories further defined the conflict, with Charles Merrick's negotiations with Comstar leading to the Comstar War, and the Lyran Commonwealth suffering significant losses under Claudius Steiner's tyrannical reign. The Second Succession War ended in 2863, with exhausted militaries on the brink of collapse and failed attempts to establish lasting peace. It set the stage for the Third Succession War in 2866, leading to a more negative post-war situation. The Great House's intense animosity made cooperation seem impossible, leaving the Inner Sphere in turmoil. In 2866, the Third Succession War began, focusing on military restoration due to halted technological advancement. The Capellan Confederation, led initially by Otto Liao, implemented an effective elastic defense strategy. Subsequent leaders dealt with a struggling confederation with depleted military resources, leading to a peaceful coup by Maximilian Liao. The Draconis Combine, led by Miyogi Kurita, retaliated against the Lyran Commonwealth for taking advantage of their internal conflicts. The Federated Sons intervened, halting their progress. Following Miyogi's assassination, Taragi Kurita, his advisor, seized power but faced challenges from Miyogi's daughters and bandit activity. The Free Worlds League under Philippa Merrick was prepared for the Third Succession War. Despite initial success, they faced political fractures and losses, with subsequent leaders achieving mixed results. Janos Merrick, the next Captain General, focused on reconciliation and compassionate leadership, despite challenges from his brother Anton. The Lyran Commonwealth faced military and economic distress and technological decline due to the war. Various leaders implemented strategic changes and defensive measures. Archon Alessandro Steiner's rule led to controversial actions, a loss of faith in the government, and his replacement by Katrina Steiner due to a vote of no confidence. The Commonwealth grappled with shifting alliances, military losses, and strained resources within a volatile political landscape. Significant figures like Coordinator Miyogi Kurita, Prince Michael, and Generals Karl and Melissa Davion played key roles. Internal leadership conflicts resulted in various rulers for the Federated Sons, leading to significant reforms and territorial gains. The war unofficially ended in 3025 when Prince Hansa Davion initiated peace negotiations. The inception of the Federated Sons and Lyran Commonwealth Alliance marked a pivotal moment, fostering prosperity and promoting academic exchange, which in turn uplifted the public spirit. Nevertheless, the Alliance Games shone a light on the shortcomings within the Lyran Commonwealth Armed Forces, prompting Archon Katrina to institute vital reforms. In a surprising twist, Prince Hansa Davion divulged his invasion scheme at his wedding, signaling the initiation of the Fourth Succession War. This led to strategically offensive maneuvers, culminating in the formation of the Tikhonov Free Republic and successful assaults against the Capellan Confederation and the Draconis Combine, culminating in substantial territorial advancements. With the eventual signing of the Comstar Peace Pact, the war ended, and Davion shifted his efforts toward consolidating his victories. The establishment of the Federated Commonwealth Alliance ignited tensions within the Draconis Combine, resulting in a military buildup in response to perceived threats from Lyran Commonwealth Armed Forces and Armed Forces of the Federated Sons activities. The unfolding of the Fourth Succession War was triggered by Prince Hansa Davion's gift to Melissa Steiner. Despite losing 50 worlds, the Combine managed to seize 15 Davion systems. Thanks to the leadership of the Coordinator's son, Theodore, they were able to mount successful campaigns, even launching a counter-invasion. Their alliance with Comstar resulted in the birth of the Free Rosselhague Republic, which was followed by the Ronin War that Theodore managed to quell. As the dust settled from the Third Succession War, the limelight in Capellan space focused on Prince Hansa Davion's engagement and the happenings on Solaris 7. In a surprising turn of events, mech warrior Justin Shang Allard sought refuge in Solaris 7 and aligned himself with the Maskarovka. Davion's war declaration against the Capellan Confederation triggered Operation Rat, overpowering the Capellan forces. Even though Chancellor Maximilian Lau's retaliatory actions failed, Allard's successful raid on the Capellans gave them a glimmer of hope. The Declaration of Independence by Duchess Candace Liao for the St. Ives Compact met resistance, prompting Romana Liao to take charge, with her primary focus on reconstruction. Regardless of the Concord of Captain, tensions and conflicts lingered between the Free Worlds League, Draconis Combine, and Capellan Confederation. The union between Melissa Steiner and Hansa Davion resulted in the Fourth Succession War and the dissolution of the Concord. Internal strife plagued the Free Worlds League, featuring the Andorians' secession and their surprising alliance with the magistracy of Canopus. Following a bomb attack, Thomas Merrick rose to power and managed to reintegrate Andorian. Despite Duncan Merrick pursuing a high-risk strategy, he survived and his return shocked many. Thomas regained power and sent a stern warning to the Capellan Confederation. The matrimonial bond between Melissa Steiner and Hansa Davion was more than a union of hearts. It marked the start of the Fourth Succession War and a significant shift in the Inner Sphere's political landscape. The Lyran Commonwealth, though managing to seize 20 worlds, grappled with political and economic issues that stirred resistance. The Free Worlds League, despite some initial victories, soon stumbled. The aftermath of the war gave rise to the Federated Commonwealth. This integration, however, was met with difficulty, particularly due to the recognition of the Free Rosselhague Republic, inciting unrest and leading to the First Sky Rebellion. While Duke Ryan Steiner's intervention managed to restore some semblance of order, doubts about his loyalties clouded the atmosphere. The four succession wars had significant and far-reaching consequences for the Inner Sphere. The First Succession War, sparked by the death of the ruling First Lord, resulted in a devastating conflict marked by widespread destruction and loss of life. The great houses fought fiercely for control, with each suffering heavy casualties and territorial losses. The Second Succession War saw a continuation of chaos and destruction, further destabilizing the realms and leading to the rise of various warlords vying for power. The Third Succession War brought a period of relative stability as the realms focused on rebuilding and consolidating their gains. However, tensions simmered beneath the surface, and territorial disputes continued to fuel conflicts. The Fourth Succession War erupted with the wedding of Hansa Davion and Melissa Steiner, leading to a grand alliance between the Federated Sons and Lyran Commonwealth against the Capellan Confederation and Draconis Combine. This war reshaped the political landscape of the Inner Sphere, with the formation of the Federated Commonwealth and the establishment of buffer states like the Free Rosselhague Republic. The aftermath of these wars left the Inner Sphere scarred and depleted, with shattered economies, devastated worlds, and strained diplomatic relations. The wars also gave rise to new leaders and shifted the balance of power among the great houses, setting the stage for future conflicts and power struggles. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the Succession Wars era. While we are still in a blackout, let us know which of the successor states you support in the comments below. We will see you next time, and remember, when doing an orbital insertion there is the wrong way, and then there is the Steiner way. Which is just the wrong way with tons of assault mechs.